Welcome to Listen and Learn English, where you can improve your English at your own pace. Our narrators are all native English speakers, and their words are displayed so that you can read along and practice your English vocabulary. It's a great way to learn, so sit back, relax, and let's get into the video.
The Lazy Bird. In a wide green forest full of tall trees and sunlight, there lived a small bird named Hen Hao. Hen Hao had bright golden feathers that gleamed whenever sunlight touched them. When he flew between the trees, his wings shimmered like beams of light slipping through the forest canopy. Every animal admired how beautiful he looked, but they knew Hen Hao was lazy. He liked to sing, sleep, and wander around all day. He enjoyed the warmth of the sun on his feathers and never liked doing anything that required effort. When the other birds built their nests or gathered food, Hen Hao only watched them, humming softly to himself. As the days grew shorter and cooler, the forest began to change. The green leaves slowly turned red and gold. The breeze carried the smell of dry grass, and the sun no longer felt as warm as before. The squirrels gathered nuts and hid them inside their tree holes, and the sparrows spent hours building strong, warm nests high in the trees. One morning, as Hen Hao sat lazily on a branch, a group of sparrows called to him, Hen Hao, let's build a nest together. Winter will be here soon, and it's going to be cold. But Hen Hao only stretched his wings and said, It's still warm today. There's no rush. I'll start tomorrow. The sparrows looked at each other, shaking their heads. They had heard the same thing from him before. Tomorrow. Days passed and the air became colder. Leaves began to fall, covering the forest floor. The sound of summer faded, but Hen Hao didn't change. Every morning, he woke up singing. He spent the day flying, playing, or lying on a sunny branch, doing nothing useful. When someone reminded him again about winter, he laughed and said, There's still time. I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow always became the next tomorrow, and the next, and the next. While the other animals finished their preparations, Hen Hao still had no nest, no shelter, and no food saved up. One evening, a cold wind started to blow through the forest. The trees shook as snowflakes began to fall for the first time that year. The air felt sharp and everything went quiet. Hen Hao had never felt the cold like that before. He shivered from head to toe, tried to hide behind a few branches, but the wind cut through him. His teeth chattered, and he could hardly keep his eyes open. Oh, it's freezing, he cried. Tomorrow I will build a warm nest. I promise I can't go through this again. But morning came. The sun rose brightly. The snow melted from the branches, and warm light covered the forest again. Hen Hao stretched his wings, feeling the heat of the sun. Ah, it's beautiful again, he said happily. Maybe yesterday wasn't so bad after all. I'll build my nest later. Let me sing first. And so he sang, forgetting all about the promise he had made during the night. This pattern continued day after day. At night, Hen Hao shook and froze in the cold, telling himself he would work the next morning. But once the sun came out, he forgot his suffering. He told himself he would start after lunch, then after one more song, then tomorrow for sure. But tomorrow never came. Weeks passed. The trees lost all their leaves, and the sky turned gray. The streams turned to ice, and the ground disappeared under snow. The animals who had prepared earlier were safe and warm in their nests. The squirrels slept with full bellies, surrounded by nuts. The sparrows huddled together, protected by the walls of their nests. But Hen Hao had no nest. He tried to hide inside a hollow branch, but snow kept blowing in. His feathers, once bright and shiny, were now dull and messy. His stomach growled with hunger, and his wings shook from the cold. He tried to sing to keep his spirits up, but his voice came out weak and rough. I'll build it tomorrow, he whispered. though he no longer believed it himself. That night the wind grew even stronger. Temperature dropped lower than ever. Hanhao couldn't move his wings anymore. His tiny body curled tightly against the branch, trying to stay warm. But the cold was too much. When the sun rose the next morning, the forest was silent. The wind had stopped and snow covered every branch in soft white layers. As the other birds came out to look for food, they saw a small shape on a low branch. It was Hanhao. He lay still, covered in snow, his feathers frozen in place. He looked peaceful, as if he were only sleeping, but he would never sing again. The sparrows stood quietly beside him. One of them whispered, "Poor Hanhao. He was beautiful, but he never learned. He always waited for tomorrow." Time moved on, as it always does. The snow melted, rivers began to flow again, and the green shoots appeared everywhere. The forest came back to life. New generations of birds were born, and the sparrows taught their chicks how to build nests. They also taught them the story of Hanhao. The young birds listened carefully because they knew that even the smallest task, if delayed again and again, could cost them dearly. Life doesn't wait for us. The seasons keep changing, and the world keeps moving. Opportunities pass quietly, just like the falling leaves in autumn. The animals in the forest understood this well. That's why they prepared early. They didn't wait until the cold arrived to act. They planned, worked hard, and stayed ready. But Hanhao didn't. His habit of saying tomorrow became his trap. And in the end, there were no more tomorrows left. We've all had days when we promise ourselves to start exercising, to clean our room, to study harder, or to call someone we miss. But instead we say, "I'll do it tomorrow." And when tomorrow arrives, we find another reason to wait. Hanhao is gifted with beauty and a lovely voice, but he lacked discipline to act. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without that bridge, even the brightest talents fall short." The other birds worked hard and prepared for winter, while Hanhao only sang and dreamed. When the cold came, dreams and excuses could no longer keep him warm. This story teaches us that time waits for no one. Echoing Benjamin Franklin's words, "You may delay, but time will not." The forest moved on just as life always does, and only the memory of Hanhao remained, a lesson for others not to waste their days waiting for the right moment. Confucius taught, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." Even small, steady effort can build safety and success over time. If Hanhao had started little by little, could have survived the cold, but he stopped before he ever began. In the end, the story of the lazy bird teaches us that dreams mean nothing without action, and that today is the only day we truly have to begin. So remember Benjamin Franklin's words, "Don't wait for tomorrow to do what you can do today."
We hope you enjoyed this video. Please support us by giving us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We release new videos just like this one each week, so join us and listen to learn English.